Hello trumpet players, this is video number 8, the final video in our trumpet listening video series. In this video we're talking about transcriptions. Doing jazz solo transcriptions has been a big part of the jazz pedagogy, if you want to call it that. You can also say it's part of the culture. Been that way for a long time, but I want to say in this video that it's not just valuable for jazz players. You know how we say, maybe you don't know this, but I always like to say that jazz improvisation is spontaneous composition. If you are good at one, it will help you with the other. If you are good at the other, it will help you with the other. So, in other words, if you're good at improvisation, it's going to help your composition. If you're good at composition, it's going to help your improvisation. Well, I see the same way about listening. When we're out and about, whether it's listening to CDs, listening to videos, going to public performances, sitting there in the band, that's all real-time listening. And it's like water under the bridge. The notes you hear now are gone in a second, right? With transcription, you're going back and studying. And yes, transcribing is an academic practice. I don't think it needs to stay that way. What I mean by academic is a lot of times we're cutting through and we're looking at what notes did the guy play over what chords. Now, I don't like that kind of analysis. I think that's part of what's wrong with academic jazz. There's so much more to what the greats have done. By the way, most of what we traditionally do is transcribe the greats, right? So you like that Clifford Brown solo, you transcribe the Clifford Brown solo. It's not enough to just look at what notes he's playing. It's not enough to look at just the rhythms. When you do a transcription, you should be completely absorbed into the music. In fact, now I'm going to do another video next year, not this year. I have all my videos planned for this year. Sometime next year, I will do a video on how to do the transcription. What we're talking about here is just why you should do transcriptions. I think it's, in terms of recordings, I don't think transcribing will ever replace being on the gig or going to live performances. But in terms of recordings, transcribing is the ultimate form of listening. And like I said, it's valuable for everyone. Now, when I say transcribing here, I'm talking about listening to the recording, writing down what you hear. And I think it's, you know, in school, we called it ear training. So what we're talking about here is sort of like ear training with a purpose. And by the way, we were talking about ensemble stuff in the previous video. I think that ability to hear what other people are doing, that's real time. This is, you get to stop the tape and listen again and listen again and listen again. So you're practicing in slow motion what you should be doing on stage. Really, if you think of it that way. So in that sense, transcribing stuff, I know that the classical guys don't do as much of this. I have transcribed classical stuff. I'm almost ashamed to say why. I couldn't get the sheet music for a gig that for a piece of music that someone wanted me to play on a gig. I mean, you gotta transcribe it if you don't have the music. You gotta, the gig, you know, what are the old saying, the show must go on. So yes, I've transcribed stuff by ear instead of looking for a free score or something like that to do it with. Sometimes that's actually more convenient than spending hours online trying to find the music. But it's so extremely beneficial to do that. Even if it's just for your own practice. By the way, that's what's changed in my life over the years, right? I now do transcribing as part of what I do for a living. And there are some people, now I do transcribing of horn parts. I think most good trumpet players can do that. But I've also been hired quite often to, someone will give me a recording and they want parts for every instrument. And I do that too. So what's happened over the years is that this transcribing has become more commercial for me. I don't transcribe educationally anymore for my own educational benefit like I used to. And now I did a lot of that. What I transcribe for now is for stuff that people need. And it's not uncommon for me to actually do a whole chart, all the parts of the band, based on a recording that they send me. So that's what's changed for me. This is something I do all the time. And so anyway, when we do the transcription, it's a wonderful way to train your ear in slow motion. You keep trying and trying and trying. You recognize the sound, but when you're checking it on your horn, you just can't find that pitch right away. And after enough trial and error, you eventually find that pitch. What happens in the process of doing that is that now the bell has gone off, bing, and next time that comes up in your next transcription, you're going to remember what that was. And like I said, the more you do of this at home, in this slow motion sense, the more when you go to the gig, you're going to hear what's going on there. So this is an extremely important part of what we do. The transcriptions are extremely important. And now in this case, what we're talking about is you doing your own transcription. There are books. I have transcription books. I like transcription books. Some people say, oh, thou shalt not do transcription books. But I like the transcription books because I can look through them and see the shape and stuff like that. It's just so nice to have that convenience to look and see what they did. Over having to write out every single one of the ones that I have. Now, let me also say about that. There's two different ways to transcribe. One is by writing it down, and one is by just remembering what it was that you heard. The most valuable of those two in terms of how it affects your playing is to do it without writing it down. So that's another thing we need to cover here. If you don't write it down and you do it by memory, you're going to absorb more of the total product instead of just having your mind focused on the notes. That said, talking about the books, it's nice to have that luxury to go look and for example, I'm into motivic content. I'm always keenly aware of the motivic content of an improviser's solo. So I can glance through a transcription book. And because I've been doing this for decades now, I can see they pop out at me. I can see the motifs on the page. Yes, I can also hear them when I'm listening. But it's nice to have those books so that you can do stuff like that. But like I said, it's more beneficial to do the transcription yourself, and even more beneficial if you do it without writing it down. Now, why would you want to write it down? There are some things that happen in your mind to clarify what it is that you're playing. So I think the best of both worlds would be to learn it by memory first. Then after you've absorbed it completely, sit down and write it out. Now you're getting the best of both worlds. Now you're getting the best of both worlds because you've got now that internalization of the complete package. But now you're also revealing certain truths about the music that you would not have been able to visualize if it weren't for looking at it on the paper. There's rhythms that you don't know that it's that rhythm until you write it down. There are patterns in the music that you don't realize that that pattern even exists until you see it on the paper. There's times for me where by the way, here's one more thing I want to add to this. You don't have to transcribe the whole recording. You don't have to transcribe the whole solo. Whatever part of that you're trying to learn from, you can just transcribe that part. So if, let's say there's a great lick in one of the solos on one of the albums that you're listening to, you don't have to transcribe the whole album or the whole solo. You can, for purposes of time, transcribe just that one part. Okay? So, knowing that, and then applying that to this concept of doing the complete absorption, and then taking that and putting it into writing. Wow, how powerful is that? How powerful is that? That's awesome. Okay, so yes, I'm stressing how important it is to do transcriptions. This is both important, I believe, for classical and jazz players. I think if you think of it this way, right? Do you know what? That's another thing I want to say. There's a new trend now, and I think it's a great trend. You know, that's I don't say that very often. A new trend is a great trend, but this is a great one. People are telling their students, transcribe the head, don't get it from a book. Wonderful. Every time I've done that, every time I transcribed the head, it was always better than if I learned it from looking at the music. Always. And the point I'm making now is, what if you, as a classical musician, you're about to learn a concerto that you're going to have to perform. What if you transcribed that concerto first before you looked at the sheet music? How different would your experience on that piece? I'm not saying that I've ever done that. But if we apply what we know already about transcriptions in jazz to what could happen in classical, if you were to transcribe the solo first or the concerto first, and then get the sheet music and then learn it, how different would your experience be? Imagine that. So yes, as far as I'm concerned, transcription is just as valuable for the classical guys as it is, because, I mean, think about it. We're not just learning the material, we're improving our ear at the same time. And getting deeper and deeper and deeper into that culture. I keep talking about the culture because it's so important. All right, so that's what I got for you. This is the end of our listening series. 2 months of listening. Right? This is the end of the listening series. I have a series set up for December. I might change my mind, but we'll see where it goes. All right. Well, thank you. God bless you. We'll see you on the next video.